With just a few weeks left for CAT 2022, now is the time to go ahead and solidify your personal exam taking strategy. With that in mind, BYJU'S Exam Prep brings to you the All India Open Mock CAT. Know exactly where you stand against thousands of CATers and get video solutions and a live mock attempt. What more? There are also thousands of scholarships up for grabs.
Right. So I welcome you to this session. Sorry for the delay. There was some glitch. Right. So we talked today about CAT 2023, right? So I'll talk to you about what your VRC strategy should be for 2023, right? So on our agenda is what should you prepare for, how should you prepare for it, and I'll also give you a calendrical plan for your VARC for CAT 2023, right? So welcome to the session. Hi Vaishnavi, hello Parth, good afternoon Varun. Hi, hello. All right. So I hope all of you are doing fine. And yes, in case, let's say, you or your friends are preparing for CAT 2022, then we are launching this All India Mock CAT for the year 2022. And this is going to go live from 30th September and will stay live till 9th October. So do register for it, right? And yes, so as I told you that today we are going to talk about what to prepare for, how to prepare for it, and of course the calendrical plan, right? So first comes the question, what to prepare for? Yes, we are always worried about this. What should I prepare for when it comes to VARC? There seems to be no syllabus to it, isn't it? ऐसा लगता ही नहीं कोई syllabus है. So yes, you tell me before I tell you. Just a second. So Vendu, the session is going to talk about how to read. So I think that part will benefit everyone irrespective of 2022 and 2023, right? So when I talk to you about what all should you focus on while reading, I'll give you an example also. There is an example question. So that part is going to benefit you as well. Okay. So I think what to prepare for is something that is governed by the pattern. You should always be aware of the pattern of the exam that you intend to take. So as you know, this is your CAT, this was the pattern of CAT in 2021 and we are expecting a similar pattern in 2022 as well, right? Overall, 24 questions in VARC, out of which 16 were from RC passages. So RC passages form 2/3 of your VARC section. You are supposed to read 4 RC passages in a span of, let's say, approximately 30 minutes because your VA section, the VA part, this verbal ability part is also going to need time, right? So in 30 minutes, you have to read 4 RC passages. Okay. And in verbal ability as such, you are asked para-jumbles, para-summary and odd sentence out para-jumbles. This is a special type of a para-jumble question wherein you don't have to make an entire sequence. You just have to pick one sentence that does not fit with the others. Right. So you get a +3 for every correct answer that you give and a -1 for every incorrect answer that you give. Right. So there's negative marking. And all in all, there are 19 MCQ questions, all the 16 passage questions plus your 3 para summary questions and 5 non-MCQ. So all your para jumbles, odd sentence out plus your type in the answer para jumbles, they do not give you any options as such. Right. So you have to type in the sequence on your own. You have to type in the odd sentence out on your own. The good news is there is no negative marking also in these 5 questions. Right. So in these 5 questions, no negative marking. Okay. Then what else? Apart from this, what do I need to know about the pattern? See, this is just CAT. Yes. I am sure that you will not be taking just CAT. You will be taking other exams as well. So you should be aware of what all those exams ask also. So I have not shown it here in this presentation, but I'll tell you this, that the other exams, all your non-CAT exams, they also ask grammar and vocabulary and verbal logic in addition. In verbal logic, you can have questions like statement conclusion, then all the critical reasoning questions where you're asked to strengthen an argument, weaken an argument. So various question types here can be asked. So when you are deciding what to prepare for, it should be governed by what all is expected of you in all the exams that you will be taking. right? So as far as CAT is concerned, this is the primary expectation that we have of you. Yes. As far as the other exams are concerned, we have some expectations in addition. So if 2/3 of my exam is reading comprehension, then of course I have to read and then read some more. Yes. And because these two question types have been asked for the last 6 years, this has been pretty consistent. So I do have to prepare for para jumbles and para summary as well. Para jumbles, both types. So always look at your exams framework, your exams pattern to find out what you should prepare for. Now here comes the part that is relevant for anybody taking CAT at any time. So it's relevant for 2022 students as well. The genres of your CAT RCs in 2021 were primarily these: sociology and anthropology. Anthropos, humans, the study of humankind, how we evolved, right, etc. So sociology, the study of how human beings live in societies. All your areas such as, even let's say, if I talk about, uh, let's say, how the society impacts an individual, and how an individual can in turn impact the society. So any genre related to this, any topic related to this is going to come under sociology, right? Then science and tech. This is an age-old genre. Business and economy, again an age-old genre. History we've mentioned separately because of the frequency with which it is asked, right? Otherwise, I could have mentioned it in one topic, one broad sweep, and called the genre humanities and social sciences, right? But I'm talking about it separately because of its importance. Zoology, the study of animals. Culture, right? So various cultures across the world. Philosophy and psychology. All of these were asked last year, right? Now I'll answer this question, Varun. So do you see how your genres can be of such a wide variety? Yes, your genres can be of such a wide variety. So you should become a diverse reader. Something that we tell you time and again. We tell you this time and again because it is so important. You should be an eclectic reader. Okay. So you should read from a wide variety of sources covering a wide variety of genres. I'll come to the sources also. Yes, somebody is asking something. As theta questions do not carry any negative marking, but if they go wrong, then there will be a deduction. No, there will be no deduction. No negative marking means no deduction from your marks. Okay, even if they go wrong, you will get a 0. You will not get a negative. Okay. Good noon, Gaurav. Good noon. However, Varun, we should not forget that there's always an opportunity cost involved in attempting any question. So, some students think that because sequence parajumbles or you're typing the answer parajumbles, because they do not carry any negative marking, let me spend a lot of time attempting them. But the time that you are spending on attempting them can also be utilized on other questions, right? So, there's an opportunity cost of time that will always be involved in every question that you attempt. That should be kept in mind. But even if the question goes wrong, for a type in the answer question, for those 5 questions, even if they go wrong, there is no negative marking. You'll just get 0 marks. That's it for that question. Okay. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now coming to our next topic, that okay, from where all CAT RC passages are asked from us, right? Because see, if I tell you read and I don't really give you a definition of what you should read, then you might be reading from sources that are not even relevant, no? What if you start reading comic books today? What if you start reading magazines like Cosmopolitan today, right? So that won't carry a lot of significance. So we should know what are the sources of CAT, and accordingly, right from now, we should start reading from those sources, right? So that whatever we read is relevant, has a higher probability of that genre appearing in the exam, and we are acquainted to the writing style of various authors who, let's say, write in that particular newspaper. Okay, so that is why we need to know what are the common sources of your CAT RCs. Book excerpts. Okay, a lot of your RC passages are nothing but extracts or excerpts from books. So reading non-fiction books will definitely help you. Okay, then editorials of international newspapers. So what we have seen is that over the last 6-7 years, you have got international newspaper editorials as RC passages, not national newspaper editorials, right? So the NYT, the Guardian, okay, once even from the Independent. So you have got editorials of these newspapers, right? And apart from this, you've got essays and commentaries from various e-magazines. So these have been some of the most common sources of your CAT RCs, and therefore you should read these. Okay, so instead of reading just about, let's say, so if let's say I don't tell you, so you must be thinking, no, that okay, the Hindu is a good newspaper. It is indeed a good newspaper. The Indian Express is a good newspaper. But the point is that while it will add to your general knowledge, while it will give you a lot of material for your, let's say, essays later on, your WATs, for your PIs, your personal interviews, it will not help in the sense that your RC sources, okay, does not form a part of your RC sources, right? So the writing style there could be different from the writing style of the reporters in NY Times. Okay, the topics discussed could be very different. Okay, can we use magazines like Pratyogita Darpan? That will help you for GK. Bankers Chronicles, again, see, economics related magazines, yes, definitely. The Economist is there. Then the Forbes will also help you. Some of your previous year RCs have been from Forbes as well. So these are the top 9 RC sources based on an analysis of CAT 2017 to 2021, right? So if you look at it carefully, what I've written here is because a lot of students ask me how many articles do they provide for free. So I did this quick search and I found out that NY Times allows you to read 2 articles every month. This is every month for free. Okay. Then excerpts from books have formed the source of 7 of your RC passages in the previous years. Okay. Eon essays are free of charge. You can read as many as you want to. The Guardian, again 2 free. So even if let's say you add this up, the number of free provided, 8, 10, 13 and 18. Even if you read 1 article from each source every day, 18 articles you can still read from these sources which are not completely free. The other 12 days you can spend on reading, let's say, Eon essays, Smithsonian magazine, right? They provide you with completely free articles, and you can of course read book excerpts. So why I am going into such depth about the sources is that I want you to start reading from these sources right from now. Okay, don't wait till next year or don't wait till the last 2-3 months of the exam. Start reading right from now so that you are acquainted to their to the topics that they talk about, the issues, the writing styles, etc. Okay. Reader's Digest is a good magazine, yes, but it does not have articles of that level that can form a part of your RCs, right? So for reading, yes, it's good. For building a reading habit, for building a reading stamina, it's good. It's a pretty standard source. You'll not find any grammatical errors there, right? So in that sense, it is good. But if you talk about whether it can form one of the sources of your RC passages, I doubt. Okay. Now, my question to you is, you see, I'm talking about so many international sources here. What all is going on in the international arena? Are you aware? Give me some international news. Yes. Good afternoon, Bitupan. Welcome to the session. So, what all is happening in the international arena? Yes. Who will tell me? What is happening in Iran these days? Any idea? So you should read about what is happening in Iran. Why are women burning their headscarves? Why are a lot of protests happening in Iran? Right. Then the Hurricane Ian that has just hit Florida, right, after hitting Cuba. So this hurricane is going on. Okay. Then apart from this, Russia Ukraine, right? So a lot of men started fleeing from Russia. Why are they fleeing? So you should be aware of various international issues. You should read about them, okay? Because increasingly your topics in RC passages have been very transdisciplinary and global in nature. What do I mean by this? Transdisciplinary and global in nature. Global, you understand, right? Transdisciplinary means they don't just stick themselves to one genre, right? So for instance, we can have a combination. We can have a passage that combines some facts from history and then applies them to the scientific world, right? So for instance, how did racial discrimination impacted reproduction, let's say? Or what can people's genetics tell us about racial discrimination witnessed by them in the past? So increasingly, your topics are such, and therefore knowing about various international affairs will help. Okay, now reading books. Fiction will also help you, non-fiction will also help you, both will help. Fiction will help to build a reading habit. In case you're not used to reading, that you don't like reading, then you can start with reading stories that interest you, right? So, for instance, if let's say fantasy books interest you, then start reading Harry Potter. Okay. If let's say thrillers interest you, then start reading Sherlock Holmes, Sidney Sheldon. If let's say horror interests you, start reading Stephen King. So, basically, it helps you to build a reading habit because you're curious to know what is going to happen next. And you start with something that you like, so anyway, you are more curious, right? So this will help you to build a reading habit and also a reading stamina. See, in the exam you will have to read RC passages for 30 minutes for and solve, of course, and basically in the entire 40 minutes of VRC ultimately you are reading only, na? So you have to have that reading stamina to read at a stretch. Non-fiction is again going to help you because it forms the sources of your RC passages. So do read books as well. Just don't confine yourself to articles, right? However, manage your time well. It's not like you're reading books the entire day. Okay, manage your time well. I'll give you a schedule of sorts also. Basically, it's a suggested schedule. You automatically have to tailor it to your needs, right? Okay. Now comes the next question, how to prepare. So this was about what to prepare from, what to prepare for. How to prepare for VARC, that's the next question. First thing that you have to do is you have to build a reading habit in case you do not read currently. That means you have to read every single day. Don't think that I'll sit over the weekend and compensate for what I'm not reading today. No, read every single day. Okay, some articles every single day and half an hour of reading a book, fiction or non-fiction, every single day, at least half an hour. This has to happen every day so that you can build a reading habit. Okay, otherwise, if you're not consistent with it, if you do not have a habit of reading, then it will depend on your mood whether you read effectively or not. You will not be able to evolve into an effective reader who reads consistently and who grasps things quickly. Okay, so once you've built this reading habit, the next step would be, in fact, it's an overlapping process only. When you read, of course, you try to understand what you are reading. Otherwise, what's the use? You also try to retain what you read so that you can discuss it with others, so that you basically are more knowledgeable than you were before you started reading. So these are the three skills that you build in the process of reading. On-screen reading, yes, Bituvan, unfortunately that is better because your exam is an online exam. So reading online is much, much better. Okay, it will simulate the actual exam reading condition for you, right? So these skills, and third is speed reading. I've put it at the end because our priority first is to understand, first to build comprehension. Agar samajh hi nahi aayega, then how will we up level our speed? Yes. So these are the three skills that you have to focus on when you read. I wish someone had told me this when, let's say, I started reading in childhood, because I focused on each and every detail very minutely. Okay, I was not very bothered about reading for, let's say, the gist. Something that I realized was very important as you progress in life and as your books become thicker, right? So reading for gist becomes very, very important. So now I have an exercise for you, an example for you. This is a paragraph. You have to read it not with the purpose of understanding and remembering everything, every word that you read, but with the purpose of getting the gist of it. At the end of it, you have to tell me what are the key important ideas, not the details, but what are the key important ideas of this paragraph, right? So let's do this. Tell me. key important ideas. Read this. Let me know once you finish. I'll answer this, Yusuf. Let us just finish this and then I'll answer this. Done. I hope all of you have read this paragraph by now. I've given you ample time. Okay. All right. So I gave you a lot of time to read this because I wanted us to focus on comprehension, on understanding as the primary thing today. So what are the key ideas of this paragraph? Can you tell me? What are the key ideas? What is the author trying to convey through this paragraph? Yes. Tell me. Humans craving a number of things. So humans crave a number of things. Absolutely. Crave a number of things. What else? Good, Varun. That was the very first idea that was given to us, that humans crave all sorts of things. And then we give examples. Now see, those are just examples. You don't need to memorize them. Right? Okay, what else? Come on, come on. Vitupan, what do you say? How can human cravings motivate him to do more? To do what? Devang? Or is the author saying this? How your cravings can motivate us? Okay, to do more. Basically, are you talking about acting on those cravings? That our cravings can be very persuasive. They can be very forceful. Yes, that idea is mentioned, that they can be very persuasive and forceful. And sometimes it can become extremely hard to ignore them. Okay, we act on them. So see this. If I just show you the paragraph again, the part that I've underlined in green, highlighted in green, those are the key ideas. Human beings crave all sorts of things. Our cravings can be forceful and persuasive. Okay, and because they can be forceful and persuasive, so this is an elaboration that sometimes we are able to distract, but in other instances it feels nearly impossible not to act on a craving. So why is that? Because they are forceful and persuasive, right? Now this part towards the end, this was very important. What we are drawn to, what we are vulnerable to, that seems to reflect a lot about who we are, our personality, our individual personality, our values, our preferences, right, etc., etc., and various life circumstances. So again, I need not memorize all these words here. I just need to remember that whatever we crave for, it tells us a lot about our personality, our preferences, etc. And towards the end, the author raises this very important question. So why is it that we crave some things? Okay, is there a biological explanation? What explanation exists, right? And why are these cravings so powerful, so forcefully motivating, right? That we sometimes have no control over them. So this is probably what the author is going to answer in the subsequent paragraphs. So this is what is going to happen in the subsequent paragraphs, that the author answers this. That why do we crave what we crave, and how is it that it is so powerful. So there are these 3-4 key ideas of this paragraph. We crave all sorts of things. Our cravings are persuasive, powerful, and sometimes very difficult to ignore. Our cravings actually show who we are, in the sense our personality, our preferences, etc., etc., and various life circumstances. And lastly, the author raises an important question. So the purpose of the author behind writing this paragraph is to introduce this idea that humans crave many things and cravings can be powerful, and then to raise this question, that what is the reason behind our craving something and why is it so powerful, right? So this is how you identify the key ideas. If I were you and I were reading this paragraph, I would speed read through this part. Okay, I would speed read through this part. Similarly, I would speed read through this part as well. See, I'm not skipping it. I'm speed reading through it. Because I know I can always come back to, let's say, if my question asks something specifically about doom scrolling on social media, then I can always come back to this part and then reread it later on in a much more careful manner. That can always happen. Right now, I want to grasp the key ideas. कि क्यों लिखा है author ने ये paragraph, क्या बता रहा है main वो उसमें, right? I hope this is clear. What is doom scrolling, by the way? Let's add to our vocabulary also. Doom scrolling, it's a term that has emerged recently only. When people, keep scrolling their social media websites, their social media accounts, in order to read negative news and keep on consuming negative news. That is called doom scrolling, right? So the lesson is that we read for key ideas or gist. We can always come back to specific details later on if it is required by our question when we attempt an RC passage. And the key is to be curious. So let's say I read a particular word in the paragraph, doom scrolling, and I did not know the meaning. Then I googled it later on, what doom scrolling is, right? So always be curious. If you do not understand something because you lack knowledge about it, then after reading an article, Google. Okay, make Google your friend, right? That is, exams ask about the key ideas from passages. See, no exam, first of all, every exam gives you MCQs, multiple choice questions. Now, one of those questions, yes, can be, what is the main idea of this entire passage? One of those questions can also be, what is the central argument of the author in para 1 or in para 2? So, yes, you can be questioned on key ideas. But that does not mean that nothing apart from these key ideas is asked. You can be asked multiple things, right? So, for instance, I can frame a question here. Why has the author talked about doom scrolling in the passage? In order to give an example of our different kinds of cravings, right? So, why has the author talked about doom scrolling? So, you can have multiple kinds of questions. Okay. Absolutely correct, Varun. And consuming negative news. Okay, so this term emerged because it has negative effects, negative psychological effects when we consume just negative news, right? Now, my advice to you would be that for one article every day, after reading, see if you were able to identify the key ideas. Okay, so just if you're reading from paper, place it aside and then try to recall what are the key ideas. And later on check, were you able to identify all the key ideas or did you miss out on something? Do you remember all of them or did you miss out on something? So was I able to understand the RC? Was I able to remember the key ideas after reading the RC? I'm saying RC, but we'll implement this with an article, right? Ultimately, I have to practice this in an RC passage. I have to actually do this in an RC passage, that I have to identify the key ideas. I have to remember all of them. And am I able to also recall that which key idea was in which paragraph? That's also important, right? Because if my question is based on a specific detail, if I don't even remember in which paragraph that detail was mentioned, how will I go back to it? I can't reread the entire passage now. So Ultimately, these are the skills that you have to build. Okay, this part is comprehension, this part is retention, right? Okay, yeah. So Yusuf, you asked something about GMAT RCs, right? GMAT sentence correction. So see, how to improve at it. The best source for GMAT is GMAT official guide only, right? Now, the thing is that GMAT official guide straight away throws questions at you. Of course, after giving you some theory, but that theory may not be very accessible to a lay person, to be very honest. So my suggestion would be that, there are a lot of grammar sources that you can refer to. For instance, Manhattan Grammar Prep. So Manhattan has this grammar book that you can refer to that gives you all the major grammar concepts from a GMAT perspective, right? So just read that and then practice questions. And when you get a question wrong, GMAT OG provides you very detailed explanations. Okay, so you need not worry about why I got this wrong. I am not able to pinpoint the error. So there are very detailed explanations for each question. So read those carefully. Read for all the 5 options, why they are wrong, what are the errors, right? If it's a new kind of error that you've spotted or a new concept that you've learned, note it down in a particular revision notebook. Okay, a rules notebook or a revision notebook, and you can always refer to it later on. So this is how you prepare for GMAT sentence correction. Okay, and when you buy the official guide, it also gives you some extra, I think, online pool of questions. There are 2 books that usually come together, official guide and verbal review. Both have sentence correction questions, right? So this helps. Now, coming to what should be our reading routine. Okay, so this was about an article. Right now, I was just focusing on what to do from one article every single day. Okay, but I am saying this because I want this to become a habit so that later on, after let's say 2-3 months, you're able to do this very subconsciously at a subconscious level. That as you read, you keep on identifying the key ideas and automatically you remember all those key ideas location wise, right? Okay, so how should my reading routine look like? I should read some articles every day. I've written some because it will depend on your other commitments also, right? How much time you're able to take out for these. But some articles have to be read every day, right? Apart from this, so these could be from newspapers, e-magazines, whichever source you prefer. Read fiction or non-fiction for at least 30 minutes every day. You can start from something that you like and gradually branch out to genres that you're not comfortable with, right? Areas that you're not very comfortable with. This reading does not have to be a leisurely reading कि हम बीच बीच में phone check कर रहे हैं, right? And constantly replying to messages in between. No, it has to be at a stretch and it has to be target based. So for instance, on the first day, see how much you can read when you read for 30 minutes continuously. Let's say you're able to read 12 pages of a particular fiction book. Okay, so next day, try that you read just 12.5. Basically, try to push yourself higher. Then stay at 12.5 for a couple of days. Then next day, give yourself a target of 13 pages after a couple of days. So basically, you have to push yourself to read relatively faster, but in a gradual manner, in a gradual phased manner, right? So gradually, you'll notice that you are very able to comfortably read many more pages than where you started at. Okay, hope this helps. So this is the reading routine. So what I do is I sometimes read some articles in the morning and a book at night, and sometimes I flip it when I want to change my routine. Okay, so I would start my day with some articles then and go for basically vice versa kar deti hu. That's what I mean, right? So however, yes, your reading has to be at a stretch. That's what I also practice because I'm able to read a lot more than let's say when I'm constantly distracted. So because we all have limited time, it also helps in time management, reading at a stretch, right? Okay. So now what's the plan? Now you must be thinking, ज्ञान तो बहुत सारा है ये, but अब इसको कैसे accommodate करूँ मैं अपने calendar में? How do I accommodate it in my schedule, right? Reading fiction or non-fiction, should we focus on the vocabulary and root words? See, Varun, a good question. When you are reading a book, right, you should just focus on grasping the meaning of a new word contextually. See, whether you are able to understand it after reading the words around it or not. That's the only meaning that you need to grasp, right? If you are able to, perfect. If not, then proceed. Don't stop right there. Don't stop to check its meaning. That inhibits our reading speed, our reading flow. We don't want that. After reading the article, yes, you go and look at its meaning. So this is what I do. I go and look up its meaning. I also look at which part of speech it belongs to. Is it a noun? Because that tells me how will I use it in a sentence. So then I see an example sentence. Right? What if I am thinking that this is a describing word when no, it is not a describing word, it's a naming word, right? So meaning, part of speech, or an example sentence usually clarifies what part of speech it belongs to, right? So during reading, just the contextual meaning. Okay. So see, we are currently in 2022. Yes. So September is almost over, so I'm not counting it. So from October to December, this is what you should do. Build a reading habit, build a reading stamina, read diverse genres and sources. See, you have this time, right? Utilize this time. Uh, and also simultaneously work on your vocabulary and grammar. Because while CAT may not be asking it, all your other non-CAT exams are going to ask it. I'll tell you specifically how you have to prepare, right, in a later slide. But this is what you should do from October to December. Focus on your reading skills, build your reading skills. Okay. Then in the first 3 months of 2023, you will continue reading. That will not stop. But now you start working on the concepts of RC. Some students think RC में क्या concepts है, reading में क्या concept है, reading passage में. There are concepts. How do you approach a particular question type? Yes. How do you approach an inference question, a main idea question, a logical structure question? The approaches to each question type are the various question types are different. Yes. So build concepts of RC solving. Build these concepts of para-jumbles, how to solve them, what to take care of, how to make pairs, and para summary also. Okay, that you don't have to go beyond the paragraph, things like these. So building these concepts needs time. Okay, so from January to March, work on those. Right? Okay. Then when you come to April to June, now you can start taking some tests also. So some topic tests you can start taking, right? Some RC topic tests, some para summary topic tests. You can also take a couple of sectional tests to see, are you able to sit for 40 minutes? How effective is your reading when you read at a stretch? Okay. How good are you at RCs versus how good are you at VA? So you can take a couple of sectional tests and take a couple of mocks, because when you take 1 or 2 mocks, you realize again your reading, your sitting stamina, whether you have a strategy in place or not, which all topics you do not know at all right now, you have not covered at all right now. All these things, okay, they are tested by taking tests only. So in this period, April to June, you can focus on, you can basically start implementing what all you've learned in the first 3 months of 2020. Right? Then July to September, what is it that you do? July to September, you work on your weaknesses. Okay, now April to June, you now know, okay, these are the topics that I'm not very comfortable with. Okay, these are the topics that are my strengths. So you hone your strengths, you become better at them. You work on your weaknesses so that you are able to attempt at least an easy level question from your weaknesses. Let's say a main idea question is my weakness. I identify that. Okay. So, however, not every main idea question is going to be difficult. It depends on the options, right? So, I have to train myself enough that when an easy main idea question comes, when the options are far apart, at least I am able to eliminate and mark that answer, right? So, work on your weaknesses. If let's say theta parajumbles, they are a weakness for a lot of students. So again, I have to train myself enough such that if there are 3 questions, if let's say one of them is easy, then I get 100% accuracy here, right? I attempt this one correctly. Moderate also, I give my best, my sincere shot. Maybe difficult, I'll leave. Okay, but easy to moderate, I'm able to work through those questions. So this is what you work on, and now you start taking mocks regularly. right? You evolve a test strategy, a mock test strategy for yourself, an actual CAT strategy for yourself, right? In this period, you may also incorporate prep for some other non-CAT exams, because see, for instance, in October, the window for NMAT opens. So in case you are planning on taking NMAT, you can incorporate your NMAT prep also in these months, right? Okay. Then in October and November, now these 2 months, because see, you've prepared so well, so consistently over the last few months, at this time will not be extremely stressed. That's my guarantee if you follow all these things, right? Now you'll be very comfortably able to focus on execution because you're done with concepts. You've even identified your strengths and weaknesses. So now whatever strategy you've evolved, you will work on its execution, right? Do I need to make some minor tweaks, right? So how do I realize this? I take a mock, I analyze it, and then I revisit some concepts based on my analysis. I thought that I am done with this concept completely, but see, something new. I spotted something new in the mock today. So I revisit based on my mock analysis. I can even revisit my strategy for minor tweaks, right? So this is how your entire preparation plan is going to look like when you populate your calendar. Okay, and please do not stop reading. Okay, make it a habit. In fact, make it a lifelong habit. It will not just help you for your exams, it will help you for your WATs, your writing ability tests that happen later on at the stage 2. It will help you in your personal interviews. You will have a lot of material in your arsenal, a lot of information to actually discuss with the interviewer when you read so much, right? So I hope I have emphasized the importance of reading enough for you. Yes. And you will you will actually practice what I'm telling you. Let's talk about vocabulary and grammar. All non-CAT exams, all non-CAT exams, they question you on vocabulary and grammar also directly. Okay. In CAT, your understanding of an RC will improve if your vocabulary is good, right? But other exams, they ask it directly. So my suggestion is that right now in these 3 months, complete 1 to 2 vocabulary books. You can actually attempt a vocabulary book like Word Power Made Easy in 1.5 months. So complete 1 to 2 vocabulary books. That alone will add about 2,500 words. These 2 vocabulary books, if you do 2,500 words to your vocab. Listen to various vocabulary podcasts. I find this a very interesting way of learning new words. So for instance, I can suggest you one. This one by BBC Radio, The English We Speak. The English We Speak. Very small little 2-minute capsules. It's not even 2 minutes actually. Okay, that teach you various expressions that you can use in your daily life. Play various vocabulary games. So many apps available these days, yeah? Just download one app. Play vocabulary quizzes. Okay. And use these words. See, grasping all these words is of no use if you're not using them. Okay, so in your conversations, please converse with your friends in English, at least for the time that you're preparing. It will encourage you to speak. It will help you for your PIs, okay, for your personal interviews. So use the words that you learn so that it becomes a habit to actually use them. They get cemented in your mind. Okay, and lastly, for grammar, you can actually finish a grammar book in approximately 2 months. Even if you read just 5 pages every day, no? I checked the length of Wren and Martin today, right? 288 pages that are relevant for you. Even if you read just 5 pages every day, you can finish it in approximately 2 months. So if you feel that your grammar is not up to the mark, and even if you feel it is up to the mark, but you can find some time for it, do read Wren and Martin. It contains the very basics of parts of speech and subject-verb agreement, etc. Right, the topics that you are questioning on. And again, focus there on the usage. How a particular part of speech is used. How a particular collective noun is used. Right. So why I am giving you all this gyan? Because you have the time currently. Utilize these 3 months. Okay, to build a base of reading, vocabulary and grammar so that you don't have to worry so much when we get into the next year and you can comfortably focus on your concepts, right? I hope this helps. Anything that you wish to ask, please do. Yes. Any question regarding preparation, strategy, anything. My last words to you in today's session, okay, my last words in today's session will be that be consistent to see results. Okay, if you're not consistent, I mean, reading is one such thing where if you're not consistent, no matter how much you read at a particular point in your life, if you give gaps there, okay, if you leave gaps there, then you might have to start from, if not square one, then probably a little further than that. Right, all the incremental gains get wiped off the moment you stop reading, okay, the moment you leave again. So be consistent, right? And you will start enjoying it. It's not something that has to be done because it's required. When you develop a habit, you start enjoying reading, right? Start from something that you like, as I told you. And your preparation needs to be focused and balanced. So you have to keep the end goal in mind. If let's say you are reading just about anything without any concern as to what is asked in the exam, if you are just focusing on, let's say, reading and you're not solving RC passages later on, if you are focusing just on the VARC section because you like English but you do not like maths, so you are not just you're not focusing on quant at all, that won't help in cracking the exam. So you have to have focused preparation, consistent preparation, and balanced preparation, right? Make sense? Yes. The preparation has to be consistent, and along with that, what I've seen is that some students start on a very motivated note, but they gradually become demotivated. Now the reasons could be anything: procrastination, or when they take their first mock and they don't get a good result. So please, these are all psychological barriers that we have, that I am not good at reading. Have you tried reading diverse genres? You haven't. Okay. Or let's say I didn't get a good score in a mock, so I should probably stop preparing. This is not my cup of tea. Everybody scores poorly in their first mock, right? So these are all psychological barriers. Please let go of them. I can't read speedily. I'll not understand anything. Have you tried it? A lot of this barrier is psychological. And it's not like on the first day itself, I'm saying go from 12 pages in half an hour to 20 pages. No, it's very incremental. So please let go of various psychological barriers in your prep. Your temperament is going to decide your result. Trust me. Okay. And all the very best for your preparation. Okay. Uh, if you have any queries, we meet every day from Tuesday to Saturday from 12 to 1. Please ask those queries. Today I'll even see you at 3 p.m. where we'll discuss verbal reasoning for NMAT. So in case you are preparing for NMAT, you can attend that session as well. Okay, so we meet regularly. You can discuss any queries, any difficulties that you face. Okay? This is our CAT 2023 comprehensive program. We offer a lot of things here. Okay, of course you will get live classroom sessions, but in addition to that, look at the practice material that you get, right? And again, in addition to your live lectures, we have recorded lectures also. Okay, how to prepare for various sections, not just, let's say, various topics. Later on, how to prepare for your WATs and PIs. We even give you study notes. So what else I think we can give you? We are giving you study notes also, right? So it's a very comprehensive plan, and a lot of students think that it prepares you just for CAT. No, it prepares you for all the non-CAT exams also. See this. Okay, all your mocks also cover all Indian MBA entrances, right? Okay, so these are the features of our test series, right? So you get 70 plus mocks which cover all MBA entrances, 20 CAT, 50 non-CAT, and this is what you get. You get video solutions also, you get a mock analysis also, right? Okay, and we are soon going to start with a CAT 2022 series. From October 1, we'll bring to you those two papers that were created by IIM Bangalore earlier, right? Because IIM Bangalore is creating it this year. So in 2007, 2016, they created the paper. So we'll look at the paper itself, the solutions, okay, and we'll try to get an idea of the difficulty level, right? Starting from 1st October. Okay. And I've already told you about the All India Open Mock. Yes? So this is it from my side for today. Welcome all of you and thank you for attending. You can follow us on various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and we can stay connected through our Telegram channel as well. All right. Thank you for attending. Bye bye. See you.